What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from Anime Uproar, and today I have quite possibly the most hyped topic I've ever covered for you. We are discussing nothing less than the strongest Demon Slayer in history, Yoriichi, versus Demon King adult Tanjiro as they battle for the title of the strongest in all of Demon Slayer. If you do enjoy these Demon Slayer videos and want to keep them coming, you know what to do. Channel the Slayer within and smash that like button with no mercy. Never forget smashing his strongest Slayer energy and passing his scared Muzan energy, so choose wisely. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos and updates, including exciting updates about the new season containing Best Girl Mitsuri. Now, I want to thank Raycon Everyday Earbuds for sponsoring this video. I gotta say, I love these earbuds, and not just because red is my favorite color. Whether I'm listening to music during a run, listening to an audiobook during a walk, or editing my videos in a Tim Hortons, Raycon earbuds are perfect for the job, and Raycon's Everyday Earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. The optimized gel tips are very comfortable. I sometimes forget I'm wearing them, and even more importantly for me as a runner, they don't fall out. I can't tell you how many earbuds I tried and they kept falling out during runs, but that's never happened with Raycon, no matter how hard or fast I run. I cannot overstate how important that is to me. For my fellow runners and anime binge watchers, they also last long, offering 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life, more than enough for a marathon even. So if you're watching anime between classes or you just don't want to bother the rest of your family with shonen protagonist screams, Raycon's got us anime lovers covered. What's even cooler is that they cost half the price of other premium audio brands. It's really no wonder they have over 48,000 5-star reviews. So what are you waiting for? Click that link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/uproar to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So the setup for this video will be similar to those old death battle videos I watched back in the day on YouTube, in the sense that we'll briefly highlight relevant info you should know about each character, and then afterwards we'll actually get into what will most likely happen during the fight itself. So let's start with Yoriichi Tsugikuni. This dude is a legend who lived nearly 500 years ago. I could sing his praises for hours. The man was born with natural talent that hasn't been seen before him or since him. For instance, if you are well acquainted with the Demon Slayer story, you know that every Demon Slayer sort of reaches certain milestones as they progress on their getting stronger journey. They develop a mark if they make it far enough. An even fewer amount can turn their sword red eventually, an even fewer amount can gain access to the transparent world eventually, and an even fewer amount can gain access to the selfless state, which Tanjiro used to beat Upper Moon 3 Akaza. Yoriichi pretty much had access to all of these things since birth. Most obviously, he was born with a Demon Slayer mark. He wasn't actually using a Nichiren blade back then, so I guess we can't actually say he had a red blade as a kid, but it is confirmed that he did see the transparent world from birth, and it is heavily implied by his behavior that he's more or less always in the selfless state. The first time he picked up a practice sword, he absolutely destroyed a sword expert that was training his twin brother Michikatsu. Michikatsu showed talent in his own right, but compared to the prodigy Yoriichi, brother Michikatsu's pace of growth seemed as slow as a turtle. Fast forward to adulthood, and after a demon took his wife and unborn child from him, he devoted himself to becoming a demon slayer. Breathing styles weren't even around back then. Yoriichi was the one who created the first breath style, the Breath of the Sun. He was the master of this breath style. His Nichiren blade was black but would turn bright red during battle. It's made clear that no one could match Yoriichi's skill, and since many people couldn't learn sun breathing, he taught them inferior variations of it that they could learn, and that's how we got all the well-known breathing styles like flame breathing, stone breathing, and so on. So that's some basic background information. But how did Yoriichi fare against powerful demons? Well, he excelled in that too. No one could touch him, not even Muzan. Muzan tried to hit Yoriichi, but he couldn't, and before he knew it, Yoriichi had cut him up. Yoriichi's bright red blade was super effective, and Muzan was confused to see that his body wasn't regenerating properly. Muzan knew he couldn't win, so he did what he could. He ran. He made his body burst open with incredible force, unleashing about 1,800 scattered pieces of flesh. Yoriichi actually cut more than 1,500, but the remaining pieces were too small and later went on to recombine, and as a result, Muzan regenerated. He never risked another confrontation with Yoriichi though. He avoided him until Yoriichi died from old age. Still though, Muzan remained traumatized by their encounter. Centuries later, when Muzan is fighting against our main characters, it's revealed that Muzan could never fully heal from Yoriichi's attacks. They remain burned into his flesh on a cellular level. Furthermore, Muzan Muzan refers to Yoriichi as being the true monster, not him. So, when you have the big bad boss of the series, who's a demon king, calling you the real monster, you know you're a beast. Even Yoriichi's last moments were epic. As an over 80-year-old man, he confronted his brother once more, and his brother was now the demon Kokushibo. Against Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo, the strongest Upper Moon, old man Yoriichi did unbelievably well. For Kokushibo, he was nothing less than godly. Yoriichi didn't follow the rules of this world, and he was even the only marked one to live on well past 25 years old. Despite being old, he fought like he was still in his prime, according to Kokushibo. Yoriichi's aura alone made Kokushibo feel like rocks were weighing his shoulders down. Like Tanjiro against Akaza, Yoriichi warned him that he was coming before he actually attacked, and still Kokushibo could do nothing. His neck was sliced before he could even draw his own demon sword. Kokushibo said the only reason he didn't die there was because Yoriichi died of old age then, while still standing, like a true boss, think Whitebeard from One Piece. I, however, am still of the opinion that Yoriichi hesitated to end his brother's life because he cared about him so much, and that's why that first attack didn't finish him off. We all know Yoriichi was powerful enough to end it in one go, as we saw when he fought against Muzan. Muzan is supposed to be stronger than Kokushibo, and yet, Yoriichi had no trouble taking his head in an instant. Either way, Kokushibo knew that he had been beaten and outclassed, and that he was extremely lucky to still be alive. And that's Yoriichi for you. He beat Muzan, and before he died of old age, he took some time to completely outclass the strongest Upper Moon, who became a demon in the hopes that he could keep up with Yoriichi. Of course he couldn't though. No one could, except maybe contestant number 2, Demon King Tanjiro. Demon King Tanjiro came about because before Muzan was burned by the sun, he entrusted his feelings and powers to Tanjiro. He poured into Tanjiro all his blood and power. Usually, it's said that demons with more Muzan blood tend to be stronger, and it's worth noting that this is by far the most blood Muzan ever gave to anyone. He did this because he believed that Tanjiro would conquer the sunlight, Muzan's greatest weakness, and go on to become the strongest demon, the king of all demons. Because he shared Nezuko's blood and she conquered the sun, Muzan was all but certain that Tanjiro could do it too. So our main character, and arguably the current strongest living slayer, becomes the demon. His marks spread and he gets more marks, which, as I discussed in my all Tanjiro forms video, is usually a sign of increased power. Going by marks alone, we can assume that Tanjiro has never been stronger. He sees the sun and it burns him, but as Muzan predicted, he overcomes it and it eventually stops burning him. That means Nichiren blades, even bright red ones, are also no longer super effective as they were against Muzan. He goes on to show his Doc Ock-like bony whips form, and he can use these whips to kill from a distance and keep people from coming close. At one point, Gyu even says sunlight and bright red blades won't work against Tanjiro. There's no way to kill him. Tanjiro also unleashes a powerful energy orb from his mouth that can travel and then grows on impact and creates lightning-like shockwaves around it. It seems like he just came from a different show, since it reminds me of Biju bombs from Naruto or the wide variety of energy blasts that we see in Dragon Ball Z. Keep in mind, Blood Demon arts can grow and evolve over time, so the fact that he's already using something so powerful speaks volumes. If you pay close attention, this attack creates wind and lightning around it. So, and this is just a theory I just thought of, but it kind of makes sense to me, it's possible that Tanjiro, as the chosen sun breather demon, can incorporate all elements into his attacks, since they all come from sun breathing. Think about how Upper Moon 4's Hatred clone could use so many different abilities. I think Demon King Tanjiro would definitely fit into that basket. Some might argue that he hasn't proven that he can survive beheading, and thus he might actually be killable. But that wouldn't really make sense. Muzan survived decapitation, and Akaza and Kokushibo were capable of doing so it would just make no sense for the strongest demon who got all of Muzan's blood and is immune to the sun to be killable through decapitation. They never actually took his head, but I think it's a very safe assumption to think that Nichiren blades wouldn't be capable of finishing off this sun-immune demon. Since Tanjiro is immune to the sun properties in Nichiren blades, it would just be like some other demon taking off their own head like Rui did. And even if Tanjiro wasn't immune to the sun, you can argue with all of Muzan's blood, it's more likely than not that he could grow the head back. But since he is immune, it's just unimaginable that the sun properties in Nichiren blades would do anything. Eventually Kano comes, injects him with become a human again medicine, and with the help of Tanjiro's friends and his own principles, he reverts back to normal. We only got a glimpse of what Tanjiro was capable of as a demon king before he turned back, so we can't be sure how he would have hypothetically turned out if he kept walking down that path, but we can imagine. chances are he would eventually move beyond his berserk and wild phase and become like Kokushibo and Kaigaku, meaning a demon that can use their breathing style except it's improved because it is enhanced through their increased demon speed, power, and blood demon art. Over time, Tanjiro could become a demon adult, like Nezuko morphs into a much more mature looking mode to mark her increased power. And this Demon King adult Tanjiro would have access to all the sun breathing forms, but potentially he could shoot off elemental orbs from his slashes or just generate elements in creative ways. Think about lightning emitting from his sword so people can't approach, or launching gusts of actual physical wind at opponents, or perhaps even launching mini suns at his opponents. He could set the battlefield on fire to burn his opponent, and if he is affected by his own fire, which wouldn't be the case if it works like Nezuko's fire, then at least he can regenerate later while his human opponent wouldn't be able to. And if he faced another demon, he could just overpower them and absorb them into himself. As I mentioned in my all Tanjiro forms video, it's possible he could even create mini exploding sun that engulf a large area, but whereas his human opponents couldn't survive, Tanjiro could potentially regenerate if he is in fact affected by them. So now let's get to the fight. What would happen if the strongest Slayer ever battled the strongest demon ever? As mentioned, we are looking at if Tanjiro walked down the path of a demon and actually became capable of using his breathing style with demon enhancements. Chances are Yoriichi would still be quicker since he performed so well against Muzan and no one was ever able to lay a hand on him before. So Yoriichi would go in, slashing Tanjiro multiple times before Tanjiro could ever hope to hit him. Yoriichi might even use his completed 13 forms and keep the combo going so that Tanjiro would get cut repeatedly. The hope would be that Tanjiro wouldn't be able to counter-attack between attacks. The issue is though that Yoriichi's bright red blade made it difficult for Muzan to regenerate, but for Tanjiro, it wouldn't have the same effect. In fact, we could imagine Tanjiro's body reacting like Muzan's when Iguro cut through him, meaning the first cut would already be healed by the time Yoriichi's blade exits on the other end of the body. Yoriichi could buy some time perhaps by kicking off sliced parts of Tanjiro's body before they can reattach, but since Tanjiro would be the strongest demon ever, it's safe to say that even from scratch, he could regrow limbs quickly. Also, since there isn't that burning paralyzing effect happening within Demon King Tanjiro, since the red blades don't affect him in the same way, he could potentially choose to emit elements from his body as Yoriichi is slicing him. Imagine lightning being emitted and paralyzing Yoriichi, or flames that start a spreading fire. In such a case, Yoriichi may be paralyzed for even a second, but that would be enough for Demon King Tanjiro to turn the tides. Keep in mind, although not as proficient in it, even Tanjiro could gain access to Transparent World and Selfless State as a human. So with his demon enhancements and the time he had to master it all, he'd be considerably faster than Muzan was. And even if you argue the Selfless State is something that can't be used as a demon, we all know that Kokushibo could see the Transparent World, so Tanjiro would definitely have that still. My point is, it will only take a hiccup on Yoriichi's part for Demon King Tanjiro to take advantage. Even a scratch from Tanjiro, and this may even apply to damage caused by his elemental attacks, would start spreading poison in Yoriichi's body and slowing him down, meaning he would be fighting a losing battle. Think about how Kaigaku's Black Lightning tore apart Zenitsu's flesh and was going to kill him if Yushiro didn't stop it from spreading. So Yoriichi, best case scenario, could attack Tanjiro fast enough and effectively enough for Tanjiro to be incapable of launching a counterattack, but even with this best case scenario, Tanjiro would always be able to recover. Yoriichi could run at full speed for a day and a night as a kid without getting tired, no problem. So in his prime, you can bet he'd be able to go for a long time, days even, but eventually he would give out, if only from lack of water and food if nothing else. So in this best case scenario where Yoriichi's attacks would be effective enough to keep Tanjiro from releasing even elemental counterattacks, Yoriichi would still eventually lose. Thus there are too many ways Tanjiro could beat Yoriichi and no way that Demon King Tanjiro could be killed by Yoriichi. So the winner, despite how awesome Yoriichi is, would have to be Demon King Tanjiro. That's not to take anything away from Yoriichi, who's my favorite character, and as far as humans go, he is by far the strongest human ever and even stronger than all other demons except for Demon King Tanjiro. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on it and if you'd like to see any other similar matchups. If you did like it, you know what to do. Channel the Slayer within and smash that like button with no mercy. Never forget, smashing is strongest Slayer energy and passing is scared Muzan energy, so choose wisely. If you haven't made this the video, subscribe, and this is crucial. Hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications or you will miss future Demon Slayer videos and updates, including exciting updates about the new season containing best girl Mitsuri. You know you don't want to miss that, so hit that notification bell, and while you wait for the next video to drop, feel free to check out my huge and growing Demon Slayer playlist that includes videos on all Hashira, Demon Moons, and much more. Link to that is in the description, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.